All right, everyone, we have Jill Tomich here with us. Jill, thanks for being with us today. Appreciate
Hey,
it.
thanks for having me, Doug.
Absolutely, all the way from Hawaii. I love it.
Yes, aloha.
Well, for people that haven't had a chance to spend time with you or get to know you, just give me kind of the quick short version of who you are and how you got into the fitness industry in particular.
Yeah, well, I mean, if people want to come visit me in Hawaii, it's a business write-off, so we could do it that way, or I could tell you right now.
Yeah, I can hear everybody actually searching for flights right now.
Yes. So I think my journey into fitness is it's a little bit unusual because I hear a lot of stories of people being athletes or people having this great body transformation, and neither of those really apply to me. I actually had exercise-induced asthma
Okay.
when I was younger, so I couldn't even run around a softball field without like wheezing, and my mom coming to the nurse's office with my nebulizer and being taken out of school. So I've never really been super athletic. But when I came into the fitness industry, I was working at the front desk of a health club in my town during high school. And it was a cool vibe. You know, you kind of felt that community feel. And I thought, you know what, this is kind of cool. And then I started taking fitness classes and I really enjoyed them. So when I got to college, I started teaching group fitness classes. So, you know, like, remember the slide? We put little booties on your feet.
Oh, yeah.
Side to side. So I taught that class. Step was really popular, and spin, before it blew up, Reebok was actually doing indoor cycling programs. So I was one of the first Reebok cycling certified instructors out there. So it was always something I kind of did part-time. I actually went to school for architecture and design, and I just did fitness part-time.
Awesome.
I think a lot of people are in that situation too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my background's totally different as well. You know, so what caused that high school girl to go into the health club and apply for a job versus a job somewhere else?
You know what, Doug? I think it comes down to laziness. For me to get to the gym on my own, I loved group fitness classes. I took gymnastics for a little while growing up, so I kind of like that group atmosphere. And I really found myself enjoying like the jazzercise type classes, like dancing and just moving around and kind of making a fool of myself. So when I had the opportunity to take the group fitness certification at Texas A&M University, which is where I went to school, I was like, you know what? I think this would be really good. You know, I could get a workout in and I get paid for it. I'm like, that's a double bonus being a college student, right?
Absolutely. Throw in some beer and you're good. No.
Absolutely.
Well, okay, so that was then, and then following you online and seeing kind of the things that you're up to, which is quite a bit, and we were kind of talking about a little bit of some of this stuff before we got onto actually hit the record button. But where are you now in the fitness industry? What's your main focus?
So right now, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with my life.
You and everybody else watching this, right?
I think everybody out there feels like the experts have everything figured out, when in fact we've just been on perhaps a longer journey than some of these other people. So long story short, when I graduated from Texas A&M University, I moved to Boston. And I saw the opportunity for bootcamp companies, which are really popular on the West Coast, and there was nothing like it on the East Coast. So I started one of the first bootcamp companies on the East Coast. If anybody heard of it, it was Ultimate Bootcamp. I had that company for 10 years. I started out with just 8 people from some of my fitness classes that I taught at the YMCA, and I'm like, hey guys, you want to come outside with me and play around? They're like, sure, Jill, we love you. So that's kind of how it started, and 10 years later, you know, my husband and I just wanted a different lifestyle. I'm from Texas, he's from California, so I wanted the warm weather is what it really came down to. Yeah. So he started looking at jobs on the West Coast, and so when he got this job offer in Hawaii, I was like, yes, please, let's do it. So kind of left the boot camp behind, even though I loved it so much and I really, really miss it. And the day that I learned I was moving to Hawaii, I started consulting for other fitness and wellness professionals, helping them attract more clients and helping them build their business because I had 10 years of experience, and I thought, you know what, I might not know everything about business, but I know enough to help the people who are just starting out. So that's kind of what I've been doing for the last couple of years. I've been consulting, helping fitness and wellness professionals build their business, mainly in marketing, but also some business strategy. And then I've started call it a graphic design and marketing template website called fittemplates.com.
Yeah, I noticed in Fit Templates, by the way, I went to your site and it's amazing. I like the idea. And as a business owner, having a studio myself for so long, that would have been a great asset. Web marketing has always been my niche, but the print stuff is so much, it's so much different and so much harder in different aspects.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting, Doug, because when I started doing the marketing, I thought, well, everybody's going to want to talk about social media marketing, SEO, PPC, all of this online marketing. That's probably, I was kind of budgeting maybe 70% of my projects would come from that. But I was really shocked when I was still getting a ton of requests from people who are hosting events. Hey, I'm doing this event. Can you do a flyer? Can you make some free 3-day passes for people to come visit my gym? Can you make a brochure for me? I was really surprised by how many requests we were still getting. And I think it's because, we still live in the real world. We still like having tangible things to hold and touch. And the print promotions are still really valuable, especially if you own a brick and mortar business.
So give us an idea of what kind of businesses you're currently working with. I mean, what size? Are we talking about individual studios to gyms, or mainly just big box gyms? Where are you?
Yeah, I would say a majority of the people that I work with are just starting their businesses, or they've had a business for maybe 2 or 3 years and they have a small boutique fitness studio or a small one-on-one personal training facility, or, something that's probably making anywhere between, let's say, 200 and 500 a year in revenue.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And so another question that comes up for me is we deal a lot with these questions in our mastermind groups. And the question that comes up often is, what should I do with print? And, so what options should I take? Are there certain avenues that you say, hey, everybody needs to have X, Y, and Z? Or is it really different for everybody that's out there?
Yeah, there are going to be some differences, but when it comes to marketing, really your first step is building awareness, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I kind of akin marketing to you being that shy person in high school, which I totally was, and like having a crush on that super popular, super cute boy or girl in your class, and like they don't notice you, right? Like it takes a long time for them to see you in the hallway or see you in class, and oh my gosh, if they ever say hi to you, that's the best thing ever. But it usually takes anywhere between 8 to 13 hits or impressions or times for somebody to see your business and what it is you're doing, for them to even notice you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think, remind me of your question again, Doug.
It's all good. At least we're both in the same boat, right? So what I'm trying to, so we get tons of questions in our mastermind group. So one of the questions are there certain things that every business owner in the fitness industry in particular should have? So for example, the debate was, are business cards even necessary anymore in such a digital age? And my response was, yes, they are. But I'm curious what your response is.
Yeah. Okay. So this goes back. I was going somewhere, I promise. Okay. So this goes back to building awareness about what it is you do. And I think if you own a brick and mortar business, your number one asset, especially if you don't have a lot of money to spend and you're on a budget, is you have time and you have the opportunity to show people what it is you do. So I think if you own a brick and mortar business, event marketing is where it's at for you. You get people in the door excited about what you're doing, and you're basically giving them a drug. You're giving them adrenaline, yes. And then you're going to ask for the sale or ask them to come visit your facility or something afterwards. So, when I talk to somebody who's new and starting out, it doesn't have a lot of cash on hand, a lot of our conversations revolve around event marketing and what that looks like. So, okay, so if you're hosting an event, what do you need to do to get the word out about it? You might need a flyer. You might need to reach out to some cross-promotional partners in your neighborhood and leave little business card-sized flyers on their desk. Really, it's about figuring out what the steps are to host a successful event. And some of that is going to overlap with online. You're going to post it on social media and whatnot. But really, that tangible, paper that you have for flyers or business cards, that's all part of event marketing too. So that's kind of how I approach somebody new who's coming to me and is saying, I don't have a lot of money. What's the best bang for my buck?
Awesome. Yeah, totally. And so somebody comes to mind right off, I'm going to put you on the spot. Somebody comes off to mind to me now as a strength coach, very well educated, but stepped out into their own business, very introverted though. Would you tell that person to step away from event marketing, or would you tell them just to step up and get over their insecurities or lack of wanting to put themselves out there?
Well, it's really interesting, and you can tell me if you see this as well, Doug, but I feel like when people really have a passion about what they do, so the strength coach is really good at what they do, and they must be to go step out on their own, that passion is going to shine through. So I think, if you are an introverted person, thinking of it as being able to share what you have to offer with other people instead of, oh shit, now I gotta sell to these people. I'm up in front of these people. They're gonna expect me to say something wonderful and it's just gonna blow their mind. It doesn't need to be like that. I mean, if you're a great coach, if you're a great trainer, all you need to do is move what you do outside of your venue, or even bring people in, have an open house at your space. And do what you do best. It really doesn't need to be more complicated than that. I don't think.
No, I think that's an awesome answer. I really do. This particular person, I just happen to know him, and he's probably going to be watching this now, and he knows I'm talking about him, but it's not his style. He's not the guy that is hosting the party, per se. But it doesn't mean that somebody else on his staff doesn't, or somebody else on his team or somebody else he knows can't be that host or hostess for the event for him and help him out. He's great at what he does. But they're, everybody's different, right?
Yeah, no, but that's a great point. You bring people into your business that are the best at what they do. And if you're a solopreneur and don't have a business partner, you probably know pretty quickly what you think your weaknesses are.
Sure.
You just hire people that are better than you to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you mentioned doing cross promotions. Are there any kind of out of the box, so to speak, people that you recommend people cross promote with?
Out of the box.
I know such an overused term, right? But I guess I'm thinking, typically, you think of, okay, the local chiropractor or somebody that's a natural referral base. But I've also seen trainers and gym owners and, yoga instructors really kind of go and think of people that they typically wouldn't be a natural referral base, but their clients might actually hang out, like a dry cleaner or a florist.
Yeah, I think this comes down to who is your target audience. We know we can't be all things to all people. So when we choose a niche or we choose a certain type of demographic that we're going after, let's say the strength coach really enjoys working with women in their early 50s. It becomes a simple process of where else do they hang out? We know they might be going to the chiropractor, have some other kind of mind-body health connection. But where else are they hanging out?
Yeah. No. Okay. Great. That's exactly what we think of. I always recommend, do an avatar base. Like, who is your buyer persona? Who are they? Where are they shopping? Where are they reading? And where can you get them? Where can you?
Yeah, and I think so many people when they start out skip that step. I don't know if you see that too, Doug, but it's like they're kind of floundering about a lot of different things with marketing in their business when they just never did that first step.
No, absolutely. Have you ever read the book E-Myth or heard of the book E-Myth?
You know what? That is one of the first books I read by Michael Gerber that really changed how I thought about how I operated my bootcamp company, because I went from having this glamorous career where I'd go to parties around town and be like, oh yeah, I'm in architecture, I build stuff. And then, my mindset was, oh, I'm a personal trainer. And people are like, oh, that's cool. So then they start pointing to like body parts they want to improve and what's hurting them. So you have that kind of different conversations. But it wasn't until I read E-Myth that I realized that I needed to step up as a manager and that it was okay for me to call myself the CEO of my company. Because that's what I was doing. I was running a company. I had trainers underneath me who were expecting me to lead them. But in my mind, I was still kind of this goofy personal trainer that that kind of just wanted to be everybody's friend and pal around, when really what needed to happen was for me to step up as a leader.
Awesome. Yeah. I think it's such a great book, and talking about like a technician, stepping into a business owner's role like you were talking about. You can see you mentioned personal trainers, but you can see so many people as any business industry doing that. Kind of the I can do it better than my boss scenario.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. That's great. Are there any other books right now that you recommend to your mastermind groups?
I digest books a lot. So audio versions. And so when I'm working out, I'm usually listening to a book. So yes, there's a lot of them. Right now, I guess the easier thing is, depending on the subject matter, usually what we recommend to either, clients or friends or anything is, what subject do you want to learn or what area do you want to grow in? And a lot of people keep pointing towards either, something to do with fitness. So, exercise, prescription, physiology, anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
And if either neglect the business component, or they just study business and they neglect the exercise, physiology, nutrition, and that component. It's very rarely do I see those two worlds mix. But right now, I just finished the book I finished. I don't know if you've read this. Is Pitch Anything?
No, I'm writing that down right now. That's what I'm doing.
It's a good book. You can get. I'm looking at my Audible account. You can get through the first couple chapters, gives you kind of the premise of the whole book, and then he gives you examples. But it was recommended to me recently. I've heard it probably maybe a dozen times by other professionals that really enjoyed it. And so if you're ever doing pitches and things of that nature, and all trainers do, especially those trainers that are watching this that are doing corporate presentations, huge asset.
Awesome. I'm gonna add that to my list, my Kindle list.
So you're a Kindle. See, I buy the books on Kindle with the intention of reading them, and then I end up buying them on Audible and just.
I haven't tried Audible yet. I feel like, I don't know if anybody else is like me out there, but like I always find myself, I'm just naturally curious, and I think if you're any kind of entrepreneur, that's kind of your baseline. You want to learn everything there is to know about everything. So I find myself, like right now, I don't even know how many websites I have up since this morning, probably like 32 different websites up right now on my computer. You just love to learn and love to grow as a person. And it really is kind of hard to hone in, especially when you're first starting a business or you're going out on your own as a strength coach. And you really need to take a look at what your strengths are and what you enjoy doing on the day-to-day. Because if you are awesome at training and you would be as happy as a pig in mud doing 40 hours of training every week, then maybe having your own gig isn't the right thing for you. I don't know. I have a lot of trainers and fitness instructors say, I love doing this. I just don't know how to start a business. And I think that's where a lot of people need to start, is what is my life going to look like if I own a business versus just being a trainer or coach.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I think, unfortunately, our society glorifies entrepreneurship. And although both of us are entrepreneurs, I think the reality of it, I'm already looking at it over a 12-hour day today. I love it, but I'm crazy enough that I have to be an entrepreneur because no one would ever hire me. But I think most people, I don't think necessarily need to fit into that. It's more of an intrapreneur where they can be an entrepreneur within a company, have the security and stability, clock out when they get home mentally. Whereas a business owner, you can't necessarily do that very easily all the time.
No, always on. And that's why I said when I haven't done Audible yet, because instead of doing books on tape and learning more and just having this overload, I need to go listen to Rihanna and her work.
Yep.
Like, things that just shut my mind off.
I do that too. Not as much Rihanna, but I definitely listen to the music as much as possible when I get in there. My wife won't let me listen. Well, that's not true. We listen to audiobooks too, but not as much as I want to. I'm always in the car with something. Just when you were talking, you were thinking about books I would recommend. Two books I always recommend also to new business owners are Book Yourself Solid and Never Eat Alone. Because client acquisition and cash flow are such a big deal, and cash flow is such a big deal because people can't get clients.
Yes.
When I first opened my private studio in Santa Barbara, which was, I think, 16 years ago, we had a trainer who had the philosophy that everybody should walk in the door, find him, and come see him, and which didn't work, luckily an independent contractor situation for me, but trying to help him out, but just wouldn't go out and meet clients, and he wasn't successful. And now, it's fast forward till today, he's a very successful strength coach. But I think that's client acquisition is such an overlooked part of the marketing plan, the actual face-to-face.
Yeah, it really is, especially when there's this allure of Facebook marketing now and getting clients while you sleep. If you put your Google SEO, you put your Google AdWords up, all of those are really great tools. And those are probably my top two tools. If somebody had, $100, $200 a month to spend on marketing, we'd be doing online marketing, especially if you're a brick and mortar business. But it's easy to get caught up in the technology piece of it when you still need to do the work to make your product and services the absolute best they can be, and to take the time to train yourself or train the people underneath you and how to close a sale and what to say to people on the phone and how to follow up on somebody who's come to the door for the first time to your studio. Those things are all really, really important. And unless you have those things tied down, you can do all the marketing in the world, but if a new client's coming to your door and it's horrible customer service at the front desk and they're kind of left wandering around your studio on their own, then it's never going to work.
Absolutely. So what's on Jill's Kindle right now? What are you reading?
What am I reading?
It doesn't have to be business related.
There's a lot of fluff. I go through probably about a book every 2 days. Before I go to bed, I read a book.
Wow.
So it's all fluffy, light, just stories. It's just, nothing too crazy. There's no big secrets here.
Give us an example. What for someone who doesn't read a lot of fiction, which is me, and I probably could use some recommendations. What would you recommend?
So right now I'm reading a book. Let me see if I can find the name of it. But basically it's like a huge soap opera. Do you ever watch telenovelas or soap operas?
No.
So here's my dirty little secret. I love stuff like that because it reminds me of absolutely nothing.
There you go. It's your form of meditation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I completely get it. I mean, some people play video games, some people go out, some people play sports, some people meditate. You have your telenovelas and your soap operas.
I do. It's a thing. Yep.
Right on. Good for you. I think that's awesome. Going back to a little bit more full circle to the business and marketing, or maybe not even a circle, but going back to it, for print media, and something that, I don't get a chance to talk to an expert like yourself as much, and print advertising and print marketing. Do you recommend that people include in their flyers, their business cards, some kind of loop system where it takes them from the flyer to the website to collect data, or on the flyer it has a way to collect data so they can keep these people in their marketing funnel?
Absolutely. So I think one of the things that solopreneurs or business owners tend to forget about, that it is a loop or a marketing funnel, or you basically need to tell people exactly what you want them to do for the next step of learning more about your business. So I see a lot of people that still have business cards that don't have a call to action on them. So basically a call to action would be something like on the back of your card, having a free 3-day pass to your gym, or offering a free consultation, or offering a free lead magnet or ebook on your website that they can go to and download in exchange for their email address. I think every single piece of print material you put out there needs to have a call to action on it if you want a return on your investment. If you have a ton of money laying around and you're just working on getting the word out for branding purposes, let's say, then by all means, just put a pretty picture of whatever it is you do and slap your logo on it and put your website on it and hope people come to your website. But for most of us, 99% of us, you'll need to have some kind of call to action on your print materials.
Awesome. Great. And is that something that you help? So if I'm Doug, the new studio owner, and I find you, I go to fittemplates.com and I contact you. Is that something that you help me out with? Is that an option I don't know anything about call to actions. I don't know anything about sales funnels. Let's just say, is that something that you assist in?
Yeah, so absolutely. So I'm kind of doing two separate things right now. So when I started consulting when I moved to Hawaii, I started Fitness Marketing Foundry. So people can find me at fmfoundry.com. And that's kind of the consulting arm of what it is I do. So if people are struggling with their marketing message, getting up and running, we can work one-on-one and I can coach them through starting up their business or getting more clients in the door. Fittemplates.com is going to be a great resource for them too, because all of the marketing templates that we created, all of the graphic design templates that we created, they all have a call to action on them. And I think that's missing from there's a few other places where you can go and download Microsoft Word templates online, but a lot of them are pretty, but they don't have marketing in mind whatsoever. So every single print material that we have on Fit Templates has a call to action on it, or a space for a call to action that you can edit in Microsoft Word.
Awesome. That's very cool. So obviously coming from like a copywriter's state of mind and a marketing state of mind rather than just, hey, let's make something that looks pretty.
Absolutely. You have to. You have to have a strong headline. You have to know how much information to give. You don't want to overwhelm people on your business card and tell them your whole life story.
Okay.
And you need to think about what is the next step and what is my goal with this piece of print material. The same thing for online. If you're doing a Facebook ad, you really need to think about what is my end goal with this Facebook ad.
Yeah, what's the outcome, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So somebody watching this, since you have a few years under your belt in the fitness industry, where do you see the fitness industry in the next 1 to 2 years? Where do you see it going? What changes do you see happening, or do you see it staying the same?
Oh man, with technology, Doug, I can't even believe how much has changed even the last 3 or 4 years. It's been pretty incredible. I mean, I thought, what is this Fitbit thing? Are people actually going to want to see how many calories they burn? There's been pedometers around forever. Why aren't people using that? But there's so much excitement about tracking and performance. I think that's really cool because as an industry, we are a results-based industry. People want to come to us and get some kind of outcome, whether it's losing weight or feeling better about themselves or fitting into their skinny jeans, whatever it is, they want a result. And I think that the wearable devices and tracking or going to a flywheel class and seeing your performance of your indoor cycling for that day versus what you did 3 weeks ago, I think that's pretty cool because we all have this innate desire to do things better. I don't know where that comes from, but we all always want to get better. We want to see progress in what we do. So I think that's going to be pretty popular in the next few years. That trend will definitely continue.
So more wearable technology that you can track your data.
Yeah, a little bit of that, but I also think of what Orange Theory Fitness is doing. They have the scoreboards on the screen. I think that'll get even more popular because that's a direct path to results, right? Like as marketers, we love hopping into Google Analytics or Facebook Insights and digging down into the numbers because we like to see the results. We like to see those numbers growing. So I think that's going to be pretty popular in fitness as well.
Awesome. What else? Well, let me ask you this question. Did you see that these wearable technologies and the other things, the analytics and tracking, do you see that taking the place of one-on-one personal training, or do you see that as an adjunct to it?
Never, never, never. I don't think personal training will ever go away. Now, we kind of have this value struggle that us in the fitness industry are going through right now, especially with the Groupons. Everybody's kind of slashing their prices depending on the economy. And I think that's a struggle within our own industry. It's kind of a self-fulfilling loop kind of thing. But I don't think they will ever need to be replaced, because a trainer or coach, the number one reason why somebody works out with you is because they lack motivation. I mean, like I signed up to be a fitness instructor because I had to be somewhere at a certain time and work out at the same time. Well,
accountability, yep.
It's about accountability and motivation, and it's super hard to get that from an online perspective or from a technical device. But I think also boutique studios have gotten pretty big too. I mean, there's a lot of people who have niched down in the industry and said, I'm going to do just yoga, or I'm going to do a Barry's Bootcamp where it's really just weights and treadmills. So I think there's going to be a lot more of that as people start to build tribes, so to speak, because just as much as we want to see ourselves progress in numbers and performance, we all want to feel like we belong. So, I mean, this is kind of turning into psychology discussion, but really the very depths of why people come to a trainer, why people come to a coach is it's something very emotional for them, and it's something deep, and having a part of that community and feeling like they've accomplished something are two very big components of that.
Yeah, I think that's why I agree with you. I think training is about 70% psychology, 30% physiology, if not 80-20. I think that's why you're seeing a lot of trainers become life coaches as well. It's a huge movement for that. You're seeing websites like Author of Your Own Story popping up, and other things that allow coaches more tools because it's a natural kind of pathway for them.
Yeah, and I think maybe a part of the next, maybe not in the next 2 or 3 years, but maybe 5+ years down the line, I've seen a lot of spirituality and faith-based meditation classes popping up. Now, maybe it's because I'm in Hawaii and I live amongst a ton of hippies. But I do see that on the mainland too, because like you said, so much of it is about psychology, and it's almost like fitness is becoming this self-help journey for a lot of people.
Well, yeah. I think that for a lot of people, they come with an emotional issue and they relate it to the physical issue, right? You lose weight so your husband, wife loves you more, or so you feel better about yourself, or whatever it is. And now you're spending, 3 hours of pushing yourself with somebody on an intimate level. You don't do that very often with other people. You're on Facebook for 8 hours, as we were talking about, a week, instead of actually interacting with people in a live, face-to-face talk, or even via video.
No, that's a really good point. And I don't really think there's many other industries where you are working with clients on such a personal level for 3 to 5 hours out of the week.
Yeah.
I mean, my husband and I, sometimes some weeks we're like ships in the night. He might be traveling to the mainland, but you know what? I'm going to my workout classes at the YMCA down the street every week, whether he's here or not. So it really does become a really big, like I said, it's about becoming part of a tribe. And as a coach or as a trainer, you're kind of the automatic tribe leader.
Absolutely. No doubt. Jill, I know you got a tight schedule. You've been so generous with your time. I'd love to have you stick around for overtime, but for this section of what we're doing, can you just let everybody know where they can find you, where they can find more information? And of course, I'll put this information in the comment section.
Absolutely. So if there's anybody out there who needs help with their marketing strategy or business strategy, you can reach me at fmfoundry@gmail.com or fmfoundry.com. And if you are out there looking for business cards or flyers, or actually just launched a social media marketing template for folks out there who are planning that, I've been working with Amanda Vogel, who's really great at social media. We just launched that. So you can go to fittemplates.com and you get your first few templates for free. So you can go and try it out for free.
So there's no risk. I love it.
No risk, yeah.
All right, Jill, hold on real quick. Everybody else, you can find the information down there in the notes section. And Jill, thank you so much. We're going to go into overtime now.
Thanks, Doug.